Okay, I'll start the session. Now, the last session, we discuss about the firms, theory of firms. First, to discuss the types of organizations that we can see in an economy. Then we classify those organizations into the two groups, private versus public. Then the private sector organizations, again, commercial versus non-commercial. Public sector organizations, the under central government and other. Then after that, we discuss about the firm. What is a firm? The role of a firm, objective of a firm in a free enterprise economic system, we discuss. Now, after discussing all the other objectives, we came to the conclusions that, okay, the profit maximization is a very reasonable and realistic the assumption of a firm in a free enterprise economic system. So the firm has lots of other objectives: get a very high return, then increase to get a higher market share, then the employment generation, maybe other objective. But profit maximization is the key. Then we ask conditions. Profit maximizing condition is the MC equals MR. The profit maximization output is given at the point where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. We discuss another approach, TCTR approach. Then when marginal cost equals marginal revenue, we can see determine the profit maximizing output. After that, we went behind the cost and the revenue function, cost curves. Cost curves are what is the cost? Opportunity cost, accounting cost. Therefore, we have two profit concepts also. Opportunity cost based the profit, then the accounting cost based profit. Accounting cost based profit is called the accounting profit. Opportunity cost based profit is called economic cost, supernormal profit. That is the approach. After that, we discuss cost in the short run and in the long run. In the short run, we said always there is a fixed cost and a variable cost. But in the long run, no fixed cost, all are variable cost. Then we discuss the short run case in detail. What is marginal cost? Shapes of the marginal cost curve, the laws that governs, that explains the shape of the MC curve or AC curve, AVC curve. We discuss one of the important fundamental law in economics that is called the law of diminishing returns, the law of diminishing marginal product of variable factor, or the law of diminishing product of labor, if labor is the variable factor. Then the law of diminishing returns says that the marginal product of a variable factor is generally inverted U-shape. But the MC curve is U-shape. Now there is a one-to-one relationship between the marginal productivity and the U-shape MC curve. MC curve is U-shape because marginal product of labor curve is inverted U-shape. When marginal product of a worker increases, marginal cost of the output decreases. When marginal product of the output of the labor input decreases, marginal cost of producing the output increases. That is the relationship. But generally, the given firm can have, or not always have, this U-shape MC curve. Different shapes can be there. But general case, it is U-shape. It is U-shape curve, then MPL curve and the MC curve is related. After that, we discuss the long run case. In the long run, the no fixed cost, all are variable cost. Company can they expand their factory size, change the scope of the business. Then after that, similarly, we found AC curve is also generally U-shape. But to explain the exact shape of this AC curve, we use a different theory that is called return to scale. Return to scale. We have three types of return to scale: increasing return to scale or economies of scale, decreasing return to scale or diseconomies of scale, constant return to scale. Then when the proportionate increase in output exceeds the proportionate increase in input, it is called increasing return to scale. Input doubles, output triples, increasing return to scale. When the proportionate increase in output less than the proportionate increase in inputs, in cost, that is called decreasing return to scale. Input doubles, output 1.5 times the initial output, decreasing return to scale. Third case, constant return to scale, when the proportionate increase in output is exactly the same as the proportionate increase in inputs, constant return to scale. Input doubles, output doubles. That is the case, right? Okay. After that, using these cost curves, we discuss how does the firm determine the profit maximizing output using this MC equals MR condition, where the MC cuts the MR curve, right? Okay. Then any questions up to this point? Any clarification? The questions I can at this stage, before we move to the next lesson, we can discuss. Ask me any question or this lesson or the other previous lessons, you can ask me. Or if you want to tell me another comment about whether we are right. Then now today's lesson, market structures. Market structures. Altogether we have 23 slides. Now this is the first one. The market structure. Here we are going to discuss first we define what is a market. Then we discuss what is a market structure. We will discuss what is a market structure. Market, generally speaking, in the market you have buyers, you have sellers, you have goods or service to be traded, and there are other restrictions also. Some markets, there is only one producer, Ceylon Tobacco, Ceylon Electricity Board, or the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, right? CPC. Then only one. But some other markets, large number of producers, paddy industry. Right? We'll have paddy farmers, around 300 to 400 paddy farmers are there in the country. Right? Then another characteristic of market structure is we can discuss, are there any entry-exit barriers? Some markets are highly protected. Some markets are highly protected due to some technological reasons or some cost-related reasons. Other potential entrants are not willing to enter into this market, right? They can't afford either this technological technological cost, or the cost could be very high. So automatically we have only monopoly market, pure monopoly. That is number of the firms, types of the restrictions, nature of the product, nature of restriction, the entry-exit barriers. Now these are the characteristics, variables that can be used to understand the type of a market structure. Okay. Of these market structures, today we are going to discuss perfectly competitive market structure. Next week, probably 2 weeks time, we will discuss the monopoly market. After that, other market structures. So generally, we have perfectly competitive market structure. At the end, pure monopoly. One firm supplies the entire market output, produces the entire market output. Perfectly competitive market, large number of firms, producers. Large number of producers are there. In between, you have monopolistic competition, another market structure. Then you have the oligopoly market structure. Oligopoly market structure is there. Right? Therefore, today, first few slides we'll discuss define the market structure. What is the market structure? Right. This is the introduction. This is my introduction outline. Introduction, the market structures, then the perfect competition, basic assumptions. Then we have MR, AR, and demand. Because always in all these market structures we discuss how does a firm in a given market structure determines the profit maximizing output. In other words, how does this firm applies MCMR condition, MC equals MR condition. That is called profit maximization, short run and the long run. Right. Right. Market. A market is a group of buyers and sellers of a particular good or service. There are buyers, there are sellers. Buyers represent the demand side, sellers represent the supply side. The buyers as a group determine the demand for the product, and the sellers as a group determine the supply of the product. Some markets physically bring together the buyer and the seller. I think we have discussed this point in earlier occasion also. Markets, physically you can see Sunday fair. You go to Sunday fair and you can buy is there, seller is there, you buy things. Sometimes you bargain, right? Services. If you want to take a three-wheel, seller is a three-wheel, the driver, you are the buyer. You bargain and then get the service or just deny. I don't want, or let's go to take this one. Other markets operate mainly through intermediaries. Intermediaries, share market, e-commerce, share market. Of course, the share brokers. So a broker is there, buyer and the seller. There's no physical, physically they are present. The buyer arrange. Buyer do the intermediary job. Buyer the broker does the intermediary job. Buyer inform his requirement to the stockbroker. Stockbroker search sellers in the particular day from particular market, then the firm, then they arrange that transaction. But the stockbroker get the margins from both sides. That will be his revenue. Right? Share market, e-commerce. E-commerce. If you want to buy, for example, if you want to buy a book, cookery book from London, so you go to the their website and place your order, make the payment through your credit card. If they accept, 2 days or 3 days time, sometimes following day, you get the book to your doorstep, either the DHL through DHL or some other international delivery services. Now these days maybe still it's not working. Whether this as these airports are closed, the DHL and DHL, of course, they have their own own arrangements. They have their own planes, right? Network. So sometimes they come bring these things through their own flight. That is e-commerce. Again, you can't see. You are the buyer. Seller is in London. You can't see them through the internet. Through the internet website. Web is does the intermediary job. Now that is a market. Now we got market structures. Market structure of a market is a description, underline, description of buyers and sellers in that market. Now, if you before you come to the class, if you have this the hard copy of this presentation, that will be easier, because I'm going to say, okay, you underline these things, take down these points, very important. That will be useful. Then you can have separately, you can file those hard copies, right? With my important points, right? A market. Let's discuss the market structures first. What are the market structures that we are going to study in this lesson? Perfectly competitive market or industry is one in which both buyers and sellers believe that their own buying and selling decisions have no effect on the market price. That's interesting. Buyers cannot affect the market price, control the market price, change the market price. Sellers also cannot change the market price, affect the market price. That is the through their behavior. They can't influence. They are price takers. We call it price takers. Buyer is a price taker. If you are in a perfectly competitive market, you become a price taker. Then a seller in a perfectly competitive market becomes a price taker. You accept the price. You accept the price. That is called a price taker. A monopolist is the only seller. You can put a pure monopolist. Sometimes a pure monopolist, some textbooks just say monopolist. Some other textbook they use pure monopolist. One. Monopolist is the only seller or potential seller of the good in that industry. Electricity or a petroleum product, the distribution of petroleum products, CPC. Maybe the good example is Ceylon tobacco. Central bank is also sometimes monopolized, right? In the banking industry, we have only one central bank, apex body. They issue appoint authorized dealers, issue regulations time to time, take decisions with regard to monetary policies. Then central bank, in a sense, that is some monopolize the institution in a monopoly institution in an economy. One central bank. A monopolist, another market structure, is the only buyer or potential buyer. Underline that. Earlier, potential seller of the product. Ceylon tobacco is the seller of the cigarettes. Electricity board, the distribution of electricity. Then here the only buyer, potential buyer of the good in that industry. So that is interesting. How come this is made basically in the input market? This is true. I can tell you one example in from the U.S. economy. In the U.S. economy, especially almost all the defense, the armored cars, the ammunitions, all the other helicopters, rockets, the related to this the military wares should be sold to the government. Government is the sole buyer. So otherwise, it's dangerous. You can if different firms are there. Then they can directly sell these ammunitions to other countries. Therefore, there's a rule, regulation. Federal government purchase all these ammunitions. Illegally, things might happen. Everywhere it is there, no? But in that case, it is a monopolist market. Government is the only buyer. For example, a hypothetical example I can give you. Let's assume remote village, very remote village. No other companies, firms, no government factories at all. Then one company go and set up a factory, right? Government factory. It's a highly remote area. It's a hypothetical example. Then when they purchase labor, when they hire labor, of course there are some labor regulations, but when they buy some inputs, right, from the area, that's only buyer, no other competitor, in the case of labor or some other inputs. If this company, the firm is going to hire restaurants, the cafeteria, set up a cafeteria, restaurant. So they always sell service producers are there, but you decide. You are the only buyer. Monopolist market, especially in the input market, we can see the monopolist market, right? Okay. Other markets, oligopoly market structure. We'll come to this point again. This is oligopoly, another market structure. It's a market in which only a few firms compete with one another and entry into the market may be blocked. Maybe some markets, some oligopoly market, the entry is blocked. Then the few firms compete. The Shell and in the gas distribution, you have two firms, right? The oligopoly market, right? Then sometimes the toothpaste industry, the car industry, oligopoly market. Few firms, competition among few. Competitive market, large number of firms, large number of suppliers. Then another market, we'll discuss the key difference between the oligopoly market structure is mainly different from all other market structures we'll discuss. Right? Then the monopolistic competition is a market in which firms can enter free, no restriction. Each producing its own brand or a version of differentiated product. It's a large market, no entry exit barriers, but you have your own product, toothpaste, own market share, right? That is called the monopolistic competition, right? You are a monopolist. At the same time, some characteristics are like competitive market structure. Job price maker, not the price taker. You can determine the price. Right? Then I have asked this question, two questions, but once we discuss the basic characteristic of the competitive market structure, we'll come back to this again. Perfectly competitive market structure is said to be the best. Give reasons. We'll discuss this later. Are the only reason to say that it may not be the best? We'll discuss this again after we discuss the basic characteristics. Now, these are the fundamental assumptions of market structures. Competitive market structures, perfect competition. Sellers are price takers. Monopoly, pure monopoly, we can put within bracket pure monopoly. Seller is a price maker. Let's determine the price. Monopolistic competition, sellers are price makers. As I said, it's a big firm. Within the industry, you have few firms, sometimes large number of firms. Each firm is a monopolist, price maker. Sellers are price makers, oligopoly market. There are some question. Put the question mark also. Sometimes they are say quantity setters, price setters, but generally they are price makers. Right? Entry. Now we said, when you compare these market structures, another variable to compare these market structures is the entry-exit barriers. Perfectly competitive market structure, no restrictions. Entry into the market is completely free. Completely free means entry and exit, both. Entry and exit, put that. Entry and exit. Any firm can enter and start producing this product. Existing firm can exit and come out from the industry and do their own business. Entry, exit, no restrictions whatsoever. Monopoly, entry into the market is completely blocked. Either technological or cost-related barriers are there, natural barriers are there. Therefore, it is called the monopoly. For example, electricity sector. CB is a monopolist. Now, you have huge hydropower projects, Samanala, the Polgolla, the huge Prada Lakshapana, first the hydropower project in the country, everywhere. Chandrika, lots of the hydropower projects, but setting up of a big hydropower project is costly and it takes time, at least about 5 years, 5 to 10 years. Then the cost-related aspect is there. Therefore, naturally, CB has the monopoly bar. No other competitor comes in. They are called, these monopolists are called natural monopolist. Right? Sometimes natural monopolists can arise because of the technology, new technology is costly. No other firm wants to enter because of this high cost of this technology. Technological the barriers are there. Sometimes administrative barriers. Some countries, some government put some restrictions. Okay, for the next 5 years, 10 years period, we will not allow any firm to enter into this market. Government franchise, government created monopolies. They are called government franchise monopoly. Restrictions could be technological, postulated, or the government restrictions. We'll come to this variable again. Sources of monopoly. Monopolistic competition, entry is free. Any firm can enter or exit. Entry into the market may be blocked or is free. Some market, some oligopoly market, it is free. Some are blocked. Both. Bias, pure bias, poor buyers are price takers. We all are price takers. We all are price takers. We cannot influence the market, especially goods market. Right? In the input market, buyer can have some impact, especially monopsonist. We don't have monopsony market here. All product market, goods market. Input market, you can have some kind of the bargaining or the power, the monopoly power. In the product market or the input market, they are called monopsonist. But here, product market. Sellers do not behave strategically. Now I will come to this point again. Competitive market, I have mentioned, sellers do not behave strategically. Seller, it should be seller. You are the only one who cut this S, cut the S. I can't change that. No, I can. No, I can't. I can't. Seller does not behave strategically, not sellers. The grammatically wrong. Sellers do not behave strategically. Sellers behave strategically. Oligopoly market, only oligopoly market, sellers behave strategically. What is strategic behavior? Now that's why I said the oligopoly market is different from other market structures because of this variable. Mainly, sellers behave strategically. Sellers behave. What is strategic behavior? Let's say when one firm, the oligopoly, take decision, he consider what other firms are doing. What other firms are doing, what is going on in the market. Accordingly, he take the decision, changes sometimes some decision. Right? Your decisions, your behavior, decisions are conditioned by what other firms are doing. Maybe it could be related to the price. When you decide the price of a product, new product, then the firm study the other existing product, the prices of these existing competitors. Accordingly, they decide their price. Your price is determined by the prices of other products strategically. Even after sales services also, you decide what services are available. For example, in most of the countries, in any country, the banking industry is an example for oligopoly market. Take down banking industry. In Sri Lanka, about commercial banks, the license LCBs, licensed commercial bank, 25 licensed commercial banks are there. Then the oligopoly market, they compete each other, oligopoly. When one bank introduce a new product, minor account for the pensioners, they study what are the available product for pensioners, what are their interest rate structure, maturity structure. Then they decide their own product, design their own product, and give the information to the public. Okay, this is our product. Interest rate structure is this. Maturity structure is this. You are the senior citizens. We give these are the benefits when compared to other account holders. Like that, they announce this. That is called strategic behavior study. Your decisions are conditioned by what other firms are doing. In the individual, in the society consists of individuals, so we all are members of the society. How do we take decisions? Independently or strategically? Can you answer my question? One of you, can you answer my questions? In a society, when you decide something, do you take independent decisions or some kind of strategic decision, strategic behavior? Answer me, please. Independently or strategically? Answer me.
Strategically.
Yeah? You said strategically, right? Okay. Any other answers? Yes? Any other answers? Boys? Strategically or independently? How do you take decisions? Strategically or independently? Yes? Tell me. Please. If you don't answer, I'll become very tired. You don't ask my questions, no? Please answer my question. How do we take decision in the life with regard to the fashions or the haircut or the when you buy things, your entertainment habits, when you decide how to take decision independently or strategically? Yes? Answer me, please. Anybody? Any other student? Yes? Yes? How to take decisions? One answer, strategically. Any other answers? Independently? Yes? Some decisions in the life we take independently. Some other decisions we take strategically. What is going on in the market, in this field? Available fashions, available the types, available models, and then you decide, take the decision. Okay, I will go for this one. This is the current fashion or the current model, the current type, so I will buy this one. Strategic behavior. Some decision independently you take decision. Independently you take. You don't care. You don't think of others. It's your own decision. The perfectly competitive market, producers, sellers behave independently. They don't care. When they take decision, they don't care about other firms or what other firms are doing. 100% the independent decision. That's why we have said sellers do not behave strategically. Competitive market, right? So in the life we take mix of these. Some decisions are strategically, some other decisions we take independently. But today's world, what happened in most of the countries, the young generation want to be independent. It's my life. I don't want to intervene any other person. Sometimes they argue with the parents, right? Ma, this is my life. I want to be independent. But the parents, they want their children to behave strategically. You study hard. Look, the other people study very hard. The uncles, the sons and daughters, the next neighbors, these students, these sons, his son is studying very hard. Why don't you do that? Parents want their students, their children to behave strategically. Then, the children want to be independent. That is a conflict. Always you have conflict. Always you have conflict because of this strategic behavior. One party wants to be independent. The other party wants them to be strategic. That is the conflict, right? So the most reasonable in the life, some decisions we take independently, some other decision strategically, right? In the product market, oligopolies always take strategic behavior, take decisions strategically, right? Your decisions are conditions by what other firms are doing. This is very important. Right, now let's start. Perfect competition. Now we'll come to of these the 4 market structures, the perfect competition. Yes, perfect competition. I'll tell you the structure of this one. This perfectly competitive, we'll discuss this in detail in the examination also. Then monopoly also in detail. monopolistic competition and oligopoly market, we discuss not in detail basic characteristics and the models of oligopoly market. Some briefly we discussed, but these two market structures we are going to discuss in detail. Especially monopolistic competition also to some extent we'll discuss in detail, right? But oligopoly market we don't discuss that much of this. I want to tell you. Now we said the oligopoly market, the sellers behave strategically, no? When people behave strategically in the society, it's very difficult to predict their behavior. You don't know how do they take decision, what will they do next moment, right? Next minute, next day. So it's very difficult to explain their behavior. Same thing applicable to the product market also. When in the product market, when they are oligopolist, it's very difficult to explain the behavior of a oligopoly firm using only one model because of the strategic behavior. Some economists say, okay, they are price setters. They think about the prices. They strategic variable is the price. Some other economists say, no. Their strategic variable is quantity. Sometimes some people say, okay, they don't form, they have strategy, they form a cartel, OPEC countries, cartel, right? So like that, you have more than one model, one model to explain the oligopoly firm. But all other three market structures, you have a very nice model. One nice model is used to explain their behavior, but oligopoly market only, you have more than one model. Why is that? Reason is strategic behavior. Can't predict when people when people adapt this strategic behavior. Right? Okay. Perfect competition. First we discuss the characteristics. A perfectly competitive firm. In this case, I will go to this one, perfect competition. The industry, perfectly competitive firm. A large number of firms in this industry, large number of firms. Large number of. Similarly, large number of the buyers also. Large number of buyers. Right. Right. Okay. Large number of buyers. And what will happen? If you take a buyer, one buyer can be defined as one has no power to alter price it receives. A firm, if you take one firm, he cannot change price receives for its product. It is sometimes called a price taker. Now we said a competitive market, firm in a competitive market, competitive industry, one firm is called a price taker. Why is that? There are two reasons. There are two reasons that a competitive firm must accept the price that is determined by the market. Overall price is determined by the market, demand and supply. Suppose there are 100,000 consumers, 5,000 suppliers, interaction between demand and supply curves determine the price, market price, industry price. This one firm take that price and take the decision with regard to the quantities to be produced, right? Then it become a price taker. Price taker, they have to accept the price determined by the market, interaction between demand and supply. There are two reasons. What are these reasons? That competitive firm must accept the price. Competitive firm is said to be a price taker. In other words, it sells a product that is undifferentiated, homogeneous product, undifferentiated from the product of all other firms in the market. The competitive market firms, the product is undifferentiated. homogeneous product, identical products, no product differentiation. That is one reason. So everybody is producing the same product, same quality, same quantity, same quality, same texture, same product. No difference. In the case of the shirts, same type of shirts, right? Same material. Number two, it sells a very small proportion of the total market. In the total market, total industry, if there are 100,000 firms, 100,000 firms in the market, then 1 over 100,000 is the market share of this one per firm. These are the two reasons. Your market share is negligible. Number one, you are producing the same product as others, similar product as others. Therefore, you can't bargain. You have to accept the price determined by the market, industry, market. That is called the, that's why firm is said to be a price taker. Firm is said to be a price taker. Price taker. The characteristics. Come to industry. Firm is a price taker. In addition to that, the other with the same product, the characteristics. Presence of large number of firms. I do this diagram. No? Large number of firms. That's not, we don't know. Yeah, paddy industry around 400,000 to 500,000. I think 400,000 to 500,000 paddy farmers. Each farm is a supplier. Theoretically, right? So we assume that. That is a competitive market structure. Fish market, competitive market, right? Large number of suppliers are there, right? That is the each and every firm in the industry produces the same product, homogeneous product, no differentiated product, and therefore the outputs of different sellers are perfect substitutes. Underline, perfect substitutes. If I am one of the firms in the market, you are one of another firm in the market, we both producing the same product. Perfect substitute. They are perfect substitutes. Right? Perfect. The customer information about availability and prices. Customers has every information. Customer can get all the information about the product, that they want to know. The quality, the price, availability, everything they know. Right? Right to information is 100% guaranteed. You don't want to go and ask for information. The information is there, perfect information, right? About the availability and prices. That is free entry and exit from the market. No entry exit barriers. Remember when you discuss the characteristics, competitive market, no entry. Now we have to put that entry and exit and exit into the market. We have to put that here. Entry and exit into the market and from the market is free. Entry and exit. I have said entry market is free, but both side, for both direction, it is free. Excuse me. Right. Then there is free entry and exit barriers. They give examples of nearly perfectly competitive market structure. Nearly 100%. Perfectly competitive market structure is a myth. Very difficult to find 100% competitive market structure, but nearly competitive market structure is there. Market for fish, market for the during the harvesting period, market for paddy. Large number of buyers, large number of sellers are there. Then the market for rice. So the rice market is actually in Sri Lanka. It is the oligopoly market. Generally, the fish market you can consider as a competitive market, nearly competitive, not 100%, nearly. Now we we'll go to this initial question we asked about the competitive market structure. This one. Perfectly competitive market structure is said to be the best. Give reasons. What are the reasons? Because one reason is that it's a competition. Competition. Through competition, they decide the price. So that will be the no seller or buyer can influence the price. So that will be the most efficient price. Most efficient price, lowest price sometimes it is called. Through the competitive industry. That is one reason, right? So the information, right information is guaranteed, right? That is another characteristic. Consumers and the buyers has everything about the information about the product. That is another reason. Few reasons. Are there any reasons to say that it may not be the best? On one hand, we say it is the best. Consumer is getting the lowest price determined by the demand and supply forces. It is the lowest. All the other market structures, monopoly market, if the price is higher than that, it is the best price, most efficient price. So, are there any reason to say that it may not be the best? Yes. What is the reason? We said the homogeneity. Product is homogeneous. No product differentiation. Right? Why do people differ in the normal society? Normal society. Variety. If the same color shirt, same color sari, same color blouses, same type shirt, suits are available, we don't own that. That is so the characteristics does not capture the variety of the consumers, different utility of the consumer, different likes and dislikes of the consumers, right? Now that is one of the shortcomings of the criticism about the perfectly competitive market structure. Competitive market does not take into account consumers the utility, consumers the satisfaction, consumers variety of the consumers, right? And they're completely different. Some consumers in the most of the developed countries, even Sri Lanka, maybe some of the countries, they always go for branded item, Nike product, Nike. Then the Dialog, Samsung Dialog products. So that is branded items. Brand loyalty is there. Here in Sri Lanka also, for some consumers, you have the brand loyalty, but generally it is not the case. You can't generalize. So that is the brand loyalty is there, right? Why it is not called the best? Because of the perfectly competitive market structure does not give allowance to the variety consumers difference. Right? Right. Okay. Now we will come to the model, competitive market model. Now here we are going to discuss the model. I will draw this. You can see this one. Sorry. I'll draw it again. So I'll explain that this is the industry. These are number of F stands for number of firms. Large number of firms, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 firms in the industry. Good day. If you take one firm, now we discuss diagram on the left is the industry demand and supply curve. Demand curve is determined by all the consumers. Suppose there are 10,000 consumers, they determine the market demand is determined by the consumers, not only consumers, but the prices of the good, prices of other goods, consumers' income, is taste, number of consumers. Supply also determined by all the suppliers, behavior of all the suppliers. Interaction demand and supply. Then you have the equilibrium price. This is the price determined by the market. Interaction between demand and supply forces. Then what will happen? This price is taken by the firm. This firm. This is the firm. This is the firm's demand curve. Is that? Firm's demand curve is you can produce. You take this way. This price is P1 is 100. Firm has to produce the item at 100. Selling price is 100, but they can produce quantity, any number of items. 10 units, but unit price is 100. 20 units, selling price 100 per unit. 50 units, selling price the 100 per unit, right? Like that. This is the industry demand and supply curve. This is called the firm's demand curve. Firm's demand curve is horizontal, perfectly elastic. Firm's demand curve faced by the firm is perfectly elastic, That's why it is horizontal, right? It is at the price P1. So now this diagram is very important. The industry price, market price is determined by the demand interaction between demand and supply forces. So that price is taken by the firm in this industry. For every firm, each and every firm is a price taker. Each and every firm has to take the price determined by the market, and then they decide. Small q is the firm's quantity, big Q is the industry quantity. They can produce 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, 100 units, 1000 units, but selling price is P1. How do you get the P1? P1 is the industry demand, industry determined price. It is determined by the market. Yes. A competitive firm faces a flat horizontal demand curve. The firm could sell any amount of the good at price P1. I said P1 can produce 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, 100 units. It is constant, fixed. The market determined price, that is called the market determined price. P1 is called the market determined. Which market? Market for this product. Interaction between demand and supply process. Market demand and market supply curve determine the market price. That price is taken by the firm. Firm can decide any amount. Firm can decide the quantity to be placed into the market. So, but the selling price is P1. What is the price elasticity of demand of the firm's demand curve? What is price elasticity of demand? Firm's demand curve is horizontal. Horizontal demand curve. What is the price elasticity of demand? Tell me, price elasticity of demand of the horizontal demand curve. What is the elasticity? If you have gone through this my previous lecture, you can easily answer. What is the price elasticity of demand of a horizontal demand curve? Yes, tell me. Yes, can you tell me? Price elasticity of demand. It is perfectly elastic. Infinity. PD is infinity. PD is infinity. That is the price elasticity of demand is infinity. Well, I want you to take, if you don't have the hard copy of this one, take a separate sheet and answer this question. Right? PD is infinity. PD is infinity. What would happen if one of the firm tries to sell the good at a price higher than P1? That is interesting. Market determined price is 100. One of the firms in the industry try to sell, it is at 110. What will happen? Can this firm sell his product, entire product? He decide, okay, going market price is 100. We will sell at 110. Can they do that? No. Why is that? All the customers, because this is identical product, no? Homogeneous product. All the customers will go for the lower product, lower price, industry price. Because all the other firms are charging 100, whereas this firm is charging 110. Definitely, people will go for this lower price. Therefore, this firm will lose the entire market. Their consumer base will be losing, right? They lose the consumer base. That is the therefore, a firm cannot sell the item at price higher than that. That is understood. Next question is a bit difficult. What would happen if one of the firms tries to sell the good at a price lower than that? You might think, why not? They can. Why not they can sell? That is also not possible. Why is that? First case, if they try to sell the price at a price higher than the market determined price, they have to exit. You don't have any customer. You will lose the entire market, share. Everybody will buy the stuff from other markets, other companies, because it's identical product. Computer market. Second one, lower than. That is also interesting because the next these lessons we are going to prove that because this price is the marginal cost pricing. It is called, if the price is 100 rupees, that reflects the marginal cost of production. It's also 100 rupees. If you go marginal cost of production 100, therefore they charge price 100. Is the marginal cost of production. Sorry? Hello? Tell me, please. Can't you hear? Hello? Tell me, please. Hello? You said something, my dear. Hello? Tell me. Hello? You ask question? Did you ask a question? Or comment? Please ask me. No. Right? Anyway, can you hear me? Okay. Now this, I don't know, as I said at the beginning, you should be able to stop me. I was asking, I will be bombarded with lots of questions, but no one asking questions. I'm just talking to myself and then go home. That's all. I'm not happy at all, right? Please ask me questions. Sir, please stop, sir. I have a question. Sirs, can you clarify this? Can you explain this? Right? Even if you can't answer this in English, ask me in the Sinhala. I don't mind, right? I can't speak Tamil, but ask me Sinhala. Stop and ask question. Cultivate that price. Asking questions are must. So especially when you're studying a subject, ask the question. Don't be hesitate, right? That is your question. You can't answer this. You can't understand. So I should ask the question. That's very important. That's what happened to in our country. Actually, people don't question, but just blindly do things. That's not good. That's not the way, right? Please ask questions anytime. You can stop me. Language, I don't mind. That's all. Okay. Now I give you that freedom also. Even in Sinhala, you can ask me. No problem. Otherwise, no point. Right? Okay. But not in Tamil. Not in Tamil. I can't speak Tamil. So only Sinhala or English, right? Okay. Then if they try to sell the product below the market marginal cost pricing, marginal cost is 100. If they sell below this, let's say 90, company thinks, okay, we want to grab the market and 90 rupees. So then what will happen? This company will be making losses. They can't survive. They can't be in the market. The marginal cost of producing last minute is 100. You price that at 90 rupees. You can't make profit. Then you'll have to exit from the market. You can't survive because initially you can sell, but your profit will be negative. Marginal cost 100, the selling price is 90. You have to exit the market. These are the reasons the competitive market always has to use this competitive firm has to use the price determined by the market. Not they can't sell the item at higher or lower that market price. If they try to charge a higher price higher than the market price, they will lose the entire customer base. People will buy the stuff from other firms. If they want to try to sell to make higher profit, lower price lower than the 100 rupees or the market determined price, again that they can do. They will have to exit from the market. They can't make any profit. It is a marginal cost pricing. This pricing policy is called marginal cost pricing. Marginal cost pricing. Take down that. It is called marginal cost pricing. Price equals marginal cost. If marginal cost is 100 rupees, the firms are compelled. Firms should sell their product at 100 rupees. That's all. Now, okay, firm faces, now this is the problem because the PowerPoint presentation is very bad now. I have a problem. I'll do it again. Please take down that. Right. We know that the industry firm. Industry demand curve is demand curve and supply curve is P1, PQ, BD, SS, market price, then the firm, small q, firm's output, industry output, small p, firm will have to take this price determined by the market price taker, and then this is the demand curve faced by the firm. Firm's demand curve D. Firm's demand curve, let's say small d. D is the demand curve faced by the firm. P1. Firm is the price taker. So that is the demand curve, perfectly elastic demand curve, elasticity PD infinity. PD infinity, price elastic demand is. Right, okay. Okay, now this is the diagram. The market, demand curve, and this is the market. This is the firm. This is the market. Market demand curve is downward sloping, market supply curve is upward sloping. Interaction between these two determine the market price. Firm's demand curve, firm take this price, that's why we say firm is a price taker. Firm is a price taker, firm take this price and then decide the quantity. If they produce Q units of the output, small q, let's say Q1. What is total revenue? TR1 is how much? TR1 is price into Q1. Unit price Q1, price is P1. P1 into Q1. P1 into Q1. Now, if they increase the output by 1 unit from Q1 to Q1 plus 1, unit price is what? Still P1. Price taker. They are a price taker. So therefore, what is the revenue? TR2. TR2 equals P1 into new quantities Q1 plus 1. Q1 plus 1. Correct? Q1 plus 1. Now, difference between these two, TR2 minus TR1 is equals P1 into Q1 plus 1. TR2 is this minus TR1 P1 Q1. It is in the note, right? You can see P1 Q1 plus 1 minus P1 Q1. Then what is this? P1 Q1 plus P1 minus P1 Q1. P1 Q1, P1 minus P1. P1 Q1 cancel out, therefore it is P1. P1. Therefore, what is this? TR2 minus TR1. Another name for this one? What is that? When firm increase the output by 1 unit, by how much revenue increases? That is called what? That is called what? Yes? It's called what? When firm increase the output by 1 unit, Q1 to Q1 plus 1, this is change in revenue when output increased by 1 unit. Another name for this one? Tell me. It is called what? Yes? Called what? Marginal revenue. It is called marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equal to P1. Marginal revenue. So therefore, demand equals, that is also the marginal revenue. Now in the note, you have that one, marginal revenue equals demand. You can see, I have derived that. Average revenue also, you take average revenue, AR1 equals TR1 divided by Q1. TR1 divided by Q1. What is TR1? TR1 is P1 Q1 divided by Q1. Q1 cancel out P1. That is also AR1 also P1. MR1 also P1. Marginal revenue is price. Average revenue also price. Not only marginal revenue, average revenue also price. Therefore, demand curve is horizontal. That is equal to price. Marginal revenue curve horizontal. That is equal to price. Average revenue also horizontal. That is equal to price. Okay. Now let's go to the note. If you want, you can take down this thing. I think it is there now. Right. Now you can see TR2, TR1 equal P star into Q. You can take this P should be here. The Q into Q plus 1. MR2 is MR equal TR2 minus TR1. As we derive that, it is equal to P price P1. Right? Okay. Next slide. So the price MR and AR. This is the diagram I have drawn in the on the board. The price equals marginal revenue equal demand equals average revenue. Firm in a competitive market faces horizontal demand curve that is equal to the MR. Again, that is equal to the average revenue. Average revenue. You can see that is the price. Right? Now, next slide. Profit maximizing output. Profit maximization. Now we ask the question. Profit maximization. General discussion. General discussion. We discuss. After that, we discuss profit maximization in the short run. Profit maximization in the long run. This is a general diagram. Now we know that demand curve or the marginal revenue curve is P1, horizontal demand curve. MC curve is U-shape. Average cost curve is also U-shape. AC U-shape. Average cost, this should be AC curve should be here. So average cost, I don't know this my presentation, some completely out. Now this AC curve is along this AC curve. This is the AC curve, right? Okay. Now this price, yeah, MR curve, the horizontal, AC curve U-shape, MC curve U-shape. Now, what is the profit maximizing output? Profit maximizing output is given by where the point of intersection of marginal revenue and marginal cost curve. MR and MC curve. That is this point. MR and MC curve give the profit maximizing output. Profit maximizing output. I will go to the board again. Then I'll draw this diagram again. Now this just to show. the firm faces horizontal demand curve, that is equal to marginal revenue curve and the average revenue curve, which is the price, right? Price and firm's quantity. Now we have this firm faces MC curve, U-shape MC curve, then the U-shape AC curve. Because in the note you have to put down that is the AC curve. Where is the profit maximizing output? Profit maximizing output is shown by this point of intersection of MR and MC curve. This is the profit maximizing output. Profit maximizing output is shown by this point. That is the Q star. Take down this profit maximizing output Q star. This diagram, this should be the diagram. Window. Okay, right. Right, okay. Anyway, now this is the diagram. So as you see in the board, now you have to take down, change accordingly your diagram. I will go to this one. Stop sharing. Stop sharing. There you can see. Right, okay. Okay. I pinned it here. Now this is a diagram. Indicate that this is the profit maximizing output Q star, and average cost of this output is here. Average cost of this output is here. This is the average cost of this output. This is the average cost of this output. Right? Average cost of this output is that one. What is the revenue? Total revenue is equal to price into quantity. First they decide the profit maximizing output, point where the MR equals MC, then the price into quantity is the total revenue. Price into Q star. Average cost of this output is AC. So total cost is therefore what? Average cost into quantity. Average cost into quantity. Average cost into quantity. That is the total cost. Average cost into quantity. Price into quantity is the total revenue. Therefore, what is the profit? Profit is this area. This is the profit. This area is the profit. This is the profit. This is called the profit. Diagram should be changed accordingly. Now, window. Right. This is the profit. Now you can see in the next diagram I have calculated. Okay. This is the profit, right? Okay. Take down this diagram on the board. To indicate that the prices, now you can see, right? Okay. You can see now. Take down that this diagram, new diagram. Firm's demand curve. U-shape MC curve, U-shape AC curve, U-shape AC curve, U-shape AC curve, U-shape MC curve. First, firm decide the profit maximizing output. Marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Determine the profit maximizing output is Q star. Q star is called profit maximizing output. Profit maximizing output. Then what is the revenue? Revenue is total quantity into price. This area is the total revenue. Take down this. TR equal P into Q star. P into Q star is the total revenue. What is total cost? Total cost is average cost. Average cost of production is, let's say, 8 rupees. If they produce 100 units, 8 into 100. 8 into 100, 800. If the market price is 10, 10 into 100 is 1000, like that. 8 into 100, S into Q star, 100 into 10. That is the P into Q star. Profit is what? What is the profit? Is the difference between these two. Total revenue minus total cost, that is the profit. Take down that small area is the profit. Small area is the profit. Small area is the profit. Profit maximizing output is that. Okay. First we'll do some one exercise, then you can understand. Right. I'll take one example. Now let's go to the example. Cost data for a perfectly competitive firm are given below. Cost data for a perfectly competitive firm are given below. Right, okay. Quantity varies from 1 to 6. 1 to 6. Average variable cost varies from first unit output 30, second unit output 20, third unit output 15, sixth unit output 20. Average variable cost ABC. Take down average variable cost ABC is the average variable cost. Total fixed cost is 60 rupees. Total fixed cost is 60 rupees. Now there are the 4 questions. Find total cost and the marginal cost schedule. Second one, what is the short run shutdown price? I'll explain that. Short run shutdown price. Find the profit maximizing output if market price is 45 rupees. What is the profit? Graphically illustrate your findings. Now, to answer this question, now we need the model, earlier diagram. Now we go to this model. The firm's output decision in the short run. Now, general model we discuss. General model is this: average cost curve, marginal cost curve, marginal revenue curve, horizontal line. Then firm can decide the profit maximizing output and profit. Profit is the small area that we know. Now let's go to the short run. How does this firm decide the profit maximizing output in the short run? In the short run. In the short run, remember, a firm has how many cost curves? Average cost curve, then you have the average variable cost curve, then you have the average fixed cost curve, marginal cost curve. Now average fixed cost curve we don't consider. Then we have only 3 cost curves: average cost curve, average variable cost curve, marginal cost curve. Then revenue side you have marginal revenue. Now next diagram you have 3 cost curves: average cost curve, average variable cost, marginal cost. Now these horizontal lines are the marginal revenue lines, marginal revenue curves. P1 is one of the marginal revenue curves. P2 is the second marginal revenue curve. Third marginal revenue curve. 3 outputs level. Now I am going to the board again and draw the same diagram. We have discussion. We have discussion now. Right. Okay. I will draw this diagram. Short run. Firm's output decision in the short run. Firm's output decision in the short run. I will draw that again. These are the cost curves. Average cost curve, average variable cost curve. Let's say average cost curve. Then you have the average variable cost curve. Average variable cost curve. Then you have marginal cost curve. These are the cost curves in the short run. In the short run, last time we discussed. Again, we explained why these short run cost curves are U-shaped, because of the law of diminishing returns, law of diminishing marginal product of variable factor. If the labor is a variable factor, it is because of the law of diminishing marginal product of labor. Right? Now we have cost curves. Quantity along this axis AC, ABC, MC. These are the costs. Right. Now we have the marginal revenue curve to decide the profit maximizing output. We need another curve. What is that? MR. If MR curve is here, MR equals MC, profit maximizing output. If MR curve is here, MR equals MC. MR curve is there, MR equals MC. MR is the price. Marginal revenue, we proved it is the market price. It is the market price. For example, I can draw the market list. Let's say market is there. This is the market. Price and DQ. Quantity demanded. You can see yes. Let's say MR is here. MR is here. Price. This is the price. This price comes from demand and supply. Demand and supply. Excuse me. The diagram. You can see the board, right? You can see the board. Market demand curve and market supply curve, DD and SS. Determine the market price. P1. Let's say this is P1. What is this P1? P1, we have proved that P1 is the marginal revenue. MR1. P1 is the marginal revenue. Take down that diagram, the market demand and supply, firms MR curve and the firms cost curve. ABC, MC curve. Take down that diagram. Now what will happen? What is the profit maximizing output? Profit maximizing output is shown by this point. MR equals MC, this point. That is the profit maximizing output. Take down that Q1. Profit maximizing output is Q1. Take down that. You are taking down, I believe you are taking down this demand curve, market and the firm. Take down this. Market price is P1. That is determined by the interaction between demand and supply. That goes to the firm's demand curve. That will be the marginal revenue of the firm. Take down this. Take down. I'll give some 2-3 minutes to take down this. So in the diagram, I have not indicated everything. AC, ABC, MC. Small q, P1 equals MR1, PQ, price, DD, SS. These are the cost curve. AC, ABC, MC. And MR also. Right? All cost curves are there along the y-axis. Take down. Right. That is the profit maximizing output Q1 when market price is P1. That is marginal revenue is MR1, market price Q. Now what will happen? Industry demand or the supply curve can shift up or down. For example, increasing the demand. Demand curve increases. Number of consumers increases, therefore demand curve shifts up. If number of consumers decreases, demand curve comes down. Number of suppliers increases, supply curve shifts. Number of suppliers decreases, supply curve shifts other direction. Therefore, as a result, this market price can move up or down. If supply curve comes here, new market price is here. For example, the new supply curve may be here. Now what is the new supply, new price? New price is here. P2. That is the new P2. P2 is that there. Now for new price is here, new price is there, P2. Well, number of suppliers increases. Suppliers increases, supply curve shifts this direction. Supply curve shifts and market price accordingly decreases. Take down that. Now we have new MR curve. New MR curve is here. New MR curve is P2 equals MR2. Take down that. P2 equals MR2. P2 equals MR2. It equals MR2. Then what will happen? What is the profit maximizing output? Profit maximizing output, new MR2, MC curve same, new MR2, new MC, MC curve same. Therefore, profit maximizing output is here Q2. That is the profit maximizing output. Because the firm is a price taker. Firm is a price taker. Firm can't do anything. Firm take the price determined by the market. Firm take the price determined by the market. If price decreases from P1 to P2, firm has to accept that price. Firm is a price taker. Third one, let's say price further goes down. Further goes down to here. P3. P3 equals MR3. Then profit maximizing output is Q3. Now you can understand, when you go to this presentation, my presentation, you can understand all these Q1, Q2 and Q3, then P1, P2 and P3, these three curves, P1, P2 and P3, and MR1, MR2, MR3, cost structure same. Cost doesn't change in the short run, we think AVC, AC, MC intact. When MR is at this point, profit maximizing output Q1. MR is at P2, profit maximizing output at Q2. When MR is at P3, profit maximizing output is Q3. Right? The firm has no control over the price. Firm is a price taker. Now this price has a special name. P3 is called shutdown price. P3 is called shutdown price. It is called shutdown price. Can you see that? P3 is called shutdown price. Shutdown price. Take down that price. Take down that. P3 is called shutdown price. Take down that diagram. Three price lines, P1, P2, P3. P3 has a special name, shutdown price. Short run, shutdown price. Some textbook they should short run, shutdown price. Shutdown price. Short run, shutdown price. Take down. Okay. Now you can see short run, shutdown price. But is that? This is the minimum point. P3 is minimum point of the AVC curve. This is the minimum point of the AVC curve. Min of AVC curve. AVC curve. Min of AVC curve. Minimum of average variable cost curve. Take down that. Minimum of average variable cost curve. Min AVC curve. This is the minimum point. Minimum point of the average variable cost curve is called shutdown price. Why is this shutdown price is important? This is in the short run. If market price falls below this point, market price falls below this point, firm does not produce. Firm does not produce. Firm will produce zero output. Take down. If market price falls below P3, if market price falls below P3, firm will not produce any output. Firm will not produce any output. The firm will not produce any output. If market price falls below P3, the firm will not produce any output. it will shut down the plant temporarily. That is very important. It will shut down. It will shut down the plant temporarily. That's why this is called shutdown price. Cut-off point. Firm will shut down the price, shut down the plant temporarily. Temporarily, underline, temporarily, they shut down. That's why it is called shutdown price. Now you understand everything. Market, firm, disturbance, shocks coming to the market, captured by the marginal revenue curve. Then taking this marginal revenue curve, firm decide the profit maximizing output. Q1 could be Q1 when price is P1. When price falls to P2, it could be Q2. When price falls to P3, it is PQ3. Market price falls below that, firm doesn't produce any output. That is the shutdown price. Take down that. That is important, right? Okay. Now we will go to the lesson again. Right. Now you can understand everything. Everything. In addition to this diagram, you have the market also. This P3 is called the shutdown price. Take down. P3 is called the shutdown price. Now, why it is shutdown price? When the market price falls below that, P3, P4, P5, P6, firm does not produce any output. Firm, maximum they come up to P3. Q1, Q2, Q3, below that, zero output is produced. That is the short-term shutdown price. When price falls below P3, firm will not cover. Will not be able to, is not in a position to cover their average variable cost. That is the reason. The firm tries to cover the average variable cost. If the market price is enough to, market price covers the average variable cost of the firm, it will produce. Now all these P2, P1, definitely it will be higher than the average variable cost. Therefore, they will produce. If market price falls below this point, average variable cost is not covered. That is another reason that why we say that it is the shutdown price. Shutdown price. Understand, this is the firm's output decision in the short run. I'll give a summary. In the short run, you have three cost curves: average cost, average variable cost, and the MC curve. MR curve is the price. P1, P2, P3. Now we have to complete this. P1 is MR1, P2 is MR2, P3 is MR3. Why we have drawn these three MR curve? Because it depends on the market. If there are certain shocks coming to the market, market price can go up or down. Now in this case, market price falls. P1, P2, P3. Why is that? Maybe decrease in demand or increase in supply. This way the reason market price decreases, right? Then firm, always this point of intersection is MR equals MC, MR equals MC, MR equals MC, right? Right. Now we go to this question. Right. Right. Cost data for perfectly competitive firm are given below. 1 to 6. 1 to 6. I will go to this one. 1 to 6. Right. Okay. I'll again go to the board. Find TC and MC schedule. What is TC? Total cost is sum of fixed cost and variable cost. TC equals VC plus FC. Variable cost plus the fixed cost. If you know the total cost, you can calculate marginal cost. Earlier lesson we calculate. Then here main task is to calculate the TC, the variable cost and the total cost. They'll decide that. Second question, what is short-term shutdown price? What is short-term shutdown price? Remember, without doing anything, now you can answer that question. Short-term shutdown price is the minimum point of the AVC curve. Take down minimum point of the AVC curve. Now you can see what has happened to the AVC curve. AVC 30, AVC 20, AVC 15, AVC 13. After that, AVC increases 15, 20. What is the minimum point of the AVC curve? AVC curve is 13. That is the shutdown price. Take down that. So shutdown, short-run shutdown price is 13. 13. The diagram, we mark that. Now I'll go to the board again. Right. Okay. Now, for example, I draw this again. Short-run shutdown price. This diagram it is 13. This question. I draw that again. 13. I erase this. Now we have this question. I have the numbers. These are the numbers. Quantity, I draw it, write the numbers in vertically. Quantity 1 to 6. $30, $20, $15, $13, $15, $20. Given the fixed cost is what is the fixed cost? Fixed cost is how much? Tell me. Fixed cost
60.
how much? Sorry?
60. 60.
60. Good. Fixed cost is 60. It is average variable cost. Average fixed cost is 60. Fixed cost is 60. Good. Now what is total cost? First you have to calculate total cost. Total cost is variable cost plus the fixed cost. Variable cost of fixed cost. We have average variable cost, not the variable cost. Average variable cost, not the variable cost. We have to calculate variable cost then. Variable cost. How to calculate variable cost? We know average variable cost is the variable cost divided by the output. Therefore, variable cost equals average variable cost into output. From the average variable cost, how to get the variable cost? You multiply that by the output. Multiply that by the output. 30 into 1, 20 into 2, 30 into 1, 30. 20 into 2, 40. 15 into 3, 45. 13 into 4, 52. That is variable cost. ABC into Q. 15 into 5, 75. 16 to 20, 120. 120. That is variable cost. Take down that variable cost. After that, fixed cost is 60. No problem. What is fixed cost? Irrespective of the output level, whether you produce 1 unit, 10 units, 20 units, 30 units, it is fixed. 60. So always it is 60. 60. 60. 60. 60. 60. Understand? First question you ask is TC. How do you get the TC? Now you add these two. No problem. You add these two and get the total cost. Total cost is variable cost plus fixed cost. Total cost is, and you add these two. Can you do that? Can you do that? Calculate the total cost. Yeah, ABC. From the ABC, we calculate VC, get the product. VC, then you have the fixed cost. Fixed cost is fixed. Now you add 90, 100, 105, 112, 135, 180. That is the total cost. Total cost. Take down the numbers. Total cost is that. Total cost. total cost. Now, answer the first part, we have answered that, total cost. Second part is the marginal cost schedule. Marginal cost. From the total cost, how do you get the marginal cost? Remember, 2 weeks back we calculated marginal cost from the total cost. You may remember. You can go through my presentation. How do you calculate total cost? Marginal cost schedule. Marginal cost schedule, how do you calculate? Marginal cost is difference in total cost divided by difference in quantities. Marginal cost is change in total cost divided by change in quantity. Change in total cost divided by change in quantity. 100 minus 90 divided by 2 minus 1, 10. I will first calculate marginal cost of the second unit. 100 minus 90 divided by 2 minus 1. That is marginal cost. 100 minus 90 is 10. 10 divided by 1 is 10. Third unit. 105 minus 100 divided by 3 minus 2, 5. Fourth unit. 112 minus 105 divided by 4 minus 3, 7. Fifth unit. 135 minus 112 divided by 5 minus 4. Yes. 13. Sixth unit. 180 minus 135. 45. Marginal cost. Marginal cost. Now I have a question for you. What is the marginal cost of the first unit? Can anyone of you answer? Marginal cost of the first unit. How do you calculate? 90 minus what? When firm doesn't produce any output, what is the cost? When firm...
60.
Good. Excellent answer. Very good. Thank you. When firm does not produce any output, it is 60. Then what is the marginal cost of the first unit? 90 minus 60 divided by 1 minus 0, that is 30. I write that in the red line, red, 90 minus 60. Now we have everything. Total cost, marginal cost. Thank you again. You answered very well. That was the, in every paper, that was the trick in this paper. This is one of the past paper questions. Most of the students couldn't answer that question. That is the trick. If they know, if they are aware about this, if they have knowledge about the total cost, fixed cost, definitions, you can easily answer that question. Right? Get marks here. 30. Now you have finished the first part, AC and MC. Now we'll go back to this lesson again. We have how many minutes? Yeah, 2 minutes more. I will present. I will ask you to calculate the. You can continue that to the. Yeah, try to. Now find TC and MC schedules. What is the short-term shutdown price? We calculated that is 13. Minimum point of the average variable cost. That is shutdown price. Now the third question, find the profit maximizing output if market price is 45 rupees. What is the profit? Very important question. When you say market price, you have to know, always you must remember market price is the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equal to market price in the competitive market, not other market structures. MR equals M price. If market price is 45, MR is 45. That's simple. Market price is 45. That implies MR equals 45. MR equals 45. Right? MR equals 45. Now what will happen? Profit maximizing output. I'll go to this one, profit maximizing output. Stop sharing. We calculate. Yes. Sorry. Profit maximum. Market price is 45. That means MR is 45. What is the profit maximizing? At the profit maximizing output, MR equals MC. Now here MC is 30, MR 45. No. MC 10, MR 45. When output is 3, MC 5, MR 45. When MR is 4, MC 7, MR 45. Now like that, when output is 6, MC 45, MR 45. Now we want to find out the output level where MR equals MC 45. Output level is 6. Profit maximizing output is 6. Profit maximizing output level is 6. Now you can answer that question. Profit maximizing output level is 6. Last part, you have to calculate the profit. Same question. Profit is total revenue is, take down, 45 into 6. Market price 45 into 6. Total cost, we know that total cost is 180. 180 is the total cost. Market price 45. Therefore, by selling the 6 unit profit maximizing output, firm can earn 45 into 6. That is 270. Total cost is 180. Therefore, profit is difference between these two, 90. Profit is 90. This is the profit. Profit is 90, right? That is profit 90. Now we have answered that question. Right. We have answered that question. Yes. So I want you to draw the homework question. Graphically, you can draw that. You can draw this diagram. We know that all three curves. 13 is the shutdown price. Indicate the profit. Profit is 90. I want to, next week, we'll start from this point, answering this part and then draw the diagram. Thank you very much. Now we'll stop now. We'll stop now. Thank you very much. Thanks.